Hello, hello, hello. I am back with another Sudoku today, and I guess we'll just get right into it. For this one, let's see, we have just standard blue line sum, where for each blue line, the sum it has in each box is going to be the same. Then there's German Whispers, XV, and crop key stuff, with no negatives on any of it, I don't believe. Yeah, no negatives on any of it, so yeah, I typically just start by marking in all the V's, since it's pretty easy to determine that they just have to be 1, 2, 3, or 4, with 1, 4, 2, 3 pairs, because those are the only two ways to make two numbers add up to 5 for standard Sudokus. I also marked the German Whisper here with one of these two colors is going to represent numbers 6 and above, and the other one will be 4 and below. I don't have enough information to determine which is which yet, but one thing I have just noticed is that for this blue box up here, or blue line up here, and this blue line down here, each of them has an X clue for all covering the entirety of the line in this box here and here, which means this, and this are all going to sum to 10. And I'm not sure if that's going to be super helpful, but it is something useful to note. And similarly, these two have a pattern where it's 10 plus some other digit, which maxes out at being a 7, because the largest two digits can sum up to is going to be 17 with 8 and 9. So that is good to note. I'm not sure if that's going to be super helpful right off the bat. One other thing to notice is that 5 has to be in one of these three spots, and additionally, we know that at least one of these two is going to have to be 6 or above at least, because 1, 2, 3, and 4 are already marked in the row. And what that means is that these green cells must be 1, 2, 3, and 4, because one of the cells 6 and above is going to be used in these two, and there are 4 green cells within this group, which is the maximum you could possibly have in a box. So this one can't be a 4 since both of these would need to be 9. Same for this one, so one of these two is going to be a 4, which means one of these two is a 9. You can also just mark this as 6, 7, 8, 9. This one can't be 6 because then both of these would need to be 1. Same for this one, same for this one. Okay, and now I can actually I'm going to get rid of the coloring entirely, since there's not a point to keep it anymore, since we've already determined what all the numbers possible for this are. Okay. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I can determine. Well, this has to be a 5 or a 6, because it can't be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, or 9. And, okay. I can't see anything else super helpful to determine right off the bat. Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's a way to determine what digits are used in these 10s. And even though there's a V clue here, I'm not seeing enough information right off the bat to determine. But, yeah, I'm just trying to run it through my head and see what the next place I should be looking at is. Because one of these three is going to be a 7, and it's going to be next to a 1 and a 2. The trick is figuring out which one of these is a 7 and what that implies. Because, for instance, if this is a 7 here, then these have to be 1 and 2. Then there has to be an 8 here, and a 9 here, and this is a 3 and a 4. But if this one is a 7, then this is a 3, and if this one is a 7 here, then these two are 1 and 2, and I don't know which one of these is a 3 and which one of these is a 4. So I can't really eliminate any digits currently with that knowledge. I do know that this sums up to 10. And this group here sums up to a maximum of 16, so this line here sums up to a maximum of 26. And the smallest it can sum up to is 21. And the largest this cell can be would be a 9, but if this was a 9, then this would have to be a bit smaller since this is going to be a 4, so if this is an 8, that's what's going to actually maximize this group right here, is if this is an 8. And then we'd have an 8 plus the standard 10 here plus whatever it was, 16? Yeah, 16 here. So that's going to put us at 34, which means the minimum this can be is 11, which 11 isn't actually anything groundbreaking. That was already the minimum, so okay. Alright, that did not go as helpful as I had hoped it would, but that's fine. Well, I might actually go back, I'm going to bring back the marking, because I did see something somewhat helpful. I'm going to probably end up keeping this marking for the rest of the puzzle, because each of these 10s needs to have one digit below, 4 or below, and one digit 6 or above, which means, and I'm going to make gray be a marking for 5 spots, which means I get this. So the smallest this digit can now be actually is a 7, or a 5, so it's 5 up to 7 is possible. And that's because one green has to be used here and one green has to be used here. And since 15 now is the minimum here, that means both of these must be 6 or above, which means they must be red here. I can use the exact same logic on this other column here. I can get a 2 on. And that means this one also going to be 5, 6, 7, and these two are all also going to be red. And okay, then this group of 3 here, I don't have a great way to determine, but I need to have 2 numbers here that are 4 or below, because say for instance I had only 1, then the smallest the other 2 could be is 5 and 6, which is already 11, and that's bigger than 10, which means that this cell right here has to either be a 5 or higher. These ones also have to be 5 or higher. That one has to be 5 or higher, it just goes. And these ones have 2 4s in them, or 2 ones that are 4 and below in them, and they have to have one that is 5 or above, which could be at most a 6, because if it was 8 or 9, then the other 2 cells could not add up to a 2 or a 1 respectively, and if it's a 7, then the other 2 would need to be 1 and 2. But then this V clue is unsolvable. So that's why 6 is the maximum here. So it's 5 or 6. And actually 6 also breaks, because then you would need a 1 and a 3 to go with it, which will make this have a 2 and a 4. Which means I can actually determine that this is going to be like this, with a 5 locked in, so these 2 are red. And since the logic I just used is perfectly symmetrical for that, I can do the same thing over here. That tells me I don't have a 5 here, so I have a 6 here. And that's going to tell me these ones are 7, 8, and 9, which 7 plus 8 is going to give you 15, and 7 plus 9 is 16, 8 plus 9 is 17, so all 3 digits are still possible there, which, yeah, is a shame, but whatever. Okay. At least I have the digit in the grid now, which is always a good thing to see. And now, up here I need to have these 2 digits both need to be lower. Since I have 1 here and 1 here, these 2 are both going to need to be below. And then down here I need to have a 5. Yeah, okay, so I can't have a 5 here or here, because none of these 3 are 5s, and I need to have a 5 and 2 ones that are below, and therefore are below here, so I get that now. And okay. trying to think of this, if these ones are helpful, because one key thing I noticed, one of the few things that makes this puzzle not perfectly symmetric other than the jar of whispers, is that this one here is missing a consecutive dot, which means there might be something critical about these other ones, especially this one since it's on a 10. Actually, yeah, this one's on a 10, so the largest digit that could be in here is a 5. Because if it was a 6, then it would have to be 6 plus 5 or 6 plus 7, which is 11 or 13, and both of those are larger than 10. With 5, I could do 5, 4, and then a 1. But either way, if these two are both below... I can actually just determine the possible values for this one based on these. If this is 1, 2, then this has to be 7. If this is 2, 3, then this has to be 5. If this is 3, 4, this has to be 3. And if this is 4, 5, this has to be 1. So, there's that determined. For this one, I don't think I can do anything really that helpful because as long as I don't have a 9, 8 in here, as long as I have anything below a 9 in here, I'm going to be guaranteed to have a possible solution. It's like 8, 7 here is 15, you could add a 1 or a 2 here, and then you'd get up to 16 or 17. And this one doesn't have that, and this one has the exact same thing as this one up here. So for now it's 16 or 17, and actually it can't be 15 anymore. And since it's 16 or 17, that means it's 7, 9, or 8, 9, which actually tells me this one isn't 9, which tells me this has to be 9, and this is the 4. And, okay. What does that tell me? It tells me that 6 has to be this one or this one, because it can't be in either of these, and it can't be in either of these because of the 6 up here. This is actually just a 5, 9 pair, so I'm going to get rid of that. This is part of a 6, 7, 8 triple. And now, one of these two is going to be 7 here, so this one can't be a 3, because 3 can only go with 8 or above. And that means there has to be a 3 in one of these, which means there can't be a 7 in either of these, so one of these two has to be a 7. Just like how one of these two is a 6. Okay. Since neither of these are 4, one of these is a 4, which means I can actually determine this is a 1, 4, 5. This is now a 2, 3 pair, this is a 1, 4 pair, and this is a 2, 3, 5 triple. Which tells me that this is a 1, 2, and a 3. This is then an 8, and that's a 7. And that's going to tell me that this is a 16, which makes this a 6, so I can get rid of that. And those pencil marks there, and this one over here then is also a 6. That's an 8, here's a 6, and here's a third 7, 8, or 9. Okay. If this is 16, then for this group of 2 here, it has to be, well, it can't be 1, 2, or 2, 3, or 3, 4 because of this V actually. That precludes all of them. Same for here. The smallest I can have in here is a 4, and in that case it would be there's a minimum of 9 for this collection of cells here. And if this is 9, then to get up to 16 I need a 7. If this is 5 plus 6, which isn't possible actually. So going up to the next possible one would be 7 plus 8, which would require a 1 here. And those are the only two possibilities actually. I also can determine that this one up here has to be an 8, this one up here has to be an 8, and this has to be a 5, because there's already a 2 here, which means I can't have a 2, 8 pair in either of these, and 8 wasn't a possibility here. 9 is here now. This one is a 5. I can get rid of some pencil colorings or whatever on these cells, and at some point, which is realistically, actually, yeah, no, I'm gonna ditch them, the coloring now, because I really do not think it's necessary anymore, just at all. I feel like I've gotten the information out of it, and at this point a lot of it's more just going to be standard Sudoku logic, which should be helpful. Since I can't have a 9 here, this one has to be the 3, 7, which makes this the 1, 9 pair. Up here I have, Let's see, this one has to be a 7 because 5 is in that spot. So then I'm going to need a 2-8 pair here since 6 is already here, and a 4-6 up here. Then these two are 1-2. This is going to be a 3-4-5 triple. And let's see. To get a 10 down here, there's a lot of ways to do it still. And this one's a 15 now, which means this is going to be 7 and 8. This is a 9. And let's see how we can get 15 up here. This has to be a minimum of 9, which means that if this is 4, 5, and this is 6, if this is going to be 5, 6, then I need to have a 4 here, and if this is a 6, 7, then there's going to be a 2 here. Which, any and every single one of those is possible, so I can't deduce anything else from that right now. This one, let's see. It can't be 1, 2 because of the 1, 2 there, so this can no longer be a 7. It's either 2, 3, 3, 4, or 4, 5. Which is not enough for me to determine any possible numbers in this row yet. Actually, 3, 4 isn't possible because then it would need to be 3, 4, and 3, so it's 2, 3, or 4, 5. And if it's 2, 3, there's a 5 here, and if it's 4, 5, there's obviously a 5 in there, which means I can determine there is also now a 5 here. I don't think that's going to change much currently, and most likely I don't think that's going to change anything with the solve, but it's good to know nonetheless. So, how many ways are there to create 10 out of just 3 cells? 1, 2, 7 is out. Then you can have, if you're assuming there's a 1 in there, you can still have 1, 3, 6, or 1, 4, 5. Both of those are possible. If there is no 1, then it has to be 2, 3, 5. And I can't see any reason why any of those wouldn't work. So this one just can't have 8 or 9 in it. That's, yeah, realistically the only additional restriction that is put on there. Additionally, just scanning up here, there can't be an 8 in any of these. There's no 8 here. So there's an 8 here and an 8 in one of these two. There's going to be an 8 somewhere in this box. It could be here, right? Yeah, 7, 8 is possible. And actually 7 has to be in this column because it's either 7, 8 or it's 4, 5 with a 7. And that also doesn't tell me much. I already know there can't be a 7 up there, so there has to be a 7 down here, which means there's a 7 somewhere on this row. If I have a 7 here, then I could have a 6 or an 8 here, which doesn't change much at the moment, so I'm not going to do anything about it. Okay. Let's see. Up here, I either have 2, 3, or 4, 5. I'm going to mark that while I think real quick. Just because it might help me notice something I didn't see otherwise. Well, there's obviously a 9 somewhere up here, because there can't be 9 in any of those, can't be 9 in any of these, but there could be a 9 here, so I can't restrict it in that row yet. If this is a 7, or let's say if this is an 8, then this is a 7, and that breaks. Actually, I just can't have an 8 in here. This could be 7, 6, 5, 6, or 3, 4, right? Or, no, 4, 5. 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 6. So those two are 4, 5, 6, essentially. Or 6, 7, 2. Those are the 3 possibilities, of which 2 of them are going to make this a 1. And the last one, 6, 7, 2, just makes this a 3. So I'm not seeing anything currently to let me make any further deductions there. This one still could be, yeah, it could be a lot of things, so I'm not going to be able to figure anything out from that right now. Which means, where do I want to go next? Can I have an 8 in here, or did I just mark an 8 as spot? No, I could. 8, 7, 1 is... it's 7, 8, 1, which would be like that, so I can get rid of that 8. Or it's 4, 5, 7. Those are the... I'd already determined those were the 2 possibilities. Okay. If I have a 4, 5 here, then there's going to be a 1 here, and if I otherwise have a 7-8 here, there's a 1 here, which means there can't be a 1 in any of these three, which isn't that helpful either. But there also can't be a 4, can there? Because if this is a 4-5, then 4 is obviously taken, but otherwise, if this is a 8-7 and a 1, then this has to be a 4. So there can't be a 4 up here, which means there can't be a 5 here. And can I determine anything else from that right now? I don't think so. If I get a 2-3 here, then this is a 5, and if I have a 4-5 here, this is a 1, which would make a 2 here, so there's already a 2 in this row, which means there isn't a 2 up here, but I didn't expect there to be a 2 up here. So, okay. Yeah, this is a real brain bender here. I'm just trying to see if I can find anywhere that immediately jumps out to me, or at this point that just jumps out to me with an idea as to where to proceed next. Because I don't want to have to try recoloring everything, because that's just not going to be helpful. I could have a 6 in here. I can't have an 8 or a 9. This one has to be low. 9 could be in any of these three. So, yeah. Okay, that's not going to help. 6 has to be in this box here. This box here could be in any of these, which isn't greatly helpful. Yeah, the fact they just don't have a consecutive here is making it a bit trickier than if they had one, and that honestly is probably why they don't have one here. It's because if they did, it would make this probably a lot easier to determine. 2, 3, 5 is one possibility down here. So is 1, 3, 6, and so is 1, 4, 5. Yeah, and I can't see anything that breaks immediately upon any of those being the case. And there shouldn't, I don't think there's any, yeah, there's no restriction about these having the same numbers in them, which, there shouldn't be one, so, yeah. That means, what do I want to look at next? I guess I'm bringing this back. As regrettable as it is. I'm not seeing where else I can go next, so I'm just gonna bring it back, because this might clue me into something about the puzzle that otherwise wouldn't be apparent. Yeah, because at least that's what it had done earlier for me, so. Ooh, it's not great to see there, that multicoloredness. Only one of these three at a time is green. Either 2 of them are red, or one of them's red and one of them's a 5. Just gonna note that. And these ones could have a 6 in them. But in general, if it has a 6, it has 2 green. If it has a 5, it has 2 green. It's always going to have 2 green in here. So, okay. Yeah, my concern is this might not be as helpful as I would like it to be. This one has a maximum of 1 green in it. In this column, if this one has no greens here, this one must be green. So there is always 1 green here, 1 green here. So there is a total of 3 greens in this clump here, and either 1 gray and 1 red, or just 2 reds. Both of those are possible. Up here there is 2 greens and a gray. There is 1 green here, which means there is potentially green here, or this is green. Which, yeah, I'm Okay. If this is red, then there is gray and green. Okay. Yeah, the coloring might not even be enough to help me now. Actually, I know there has to be a 1 or a 4 in here, so yeah, the coloring wasn't a breakthrough, but if there is no 4 here, then this is 8, 7, and this is 1, which either way means I can't have 1, 4 here, I need to have 2, 3, which tells me there's an 8 here and a 2 here, this one can't be a 3. And then there has to be an 8 somewhere in this row, which means there isn't an 8 up here. Additionally, no, there could be a 6 down here, so I can't determine that one yet. Okay. Just really hoping I can ride this momentum I have that I just got for a moment, but I don't think I'm going to be able to take it anywhere else. Can I do something similar over here? That is the question. If I have 4, 5 here, then I have to have 2, 3 here. If I have 5, 6 here, then I have to have 2, 3 here. And if I have 6, 7 here, then I have 1, 4 here with a 2 here. That is not enough to break through anywhere. Okay, because I know I'm going to have 1 and 2 both in this row somehow, like one way or another. I can't have 1 and 2 over here. I could have a 4 over here, that's the only thing that I could potentially have over here, and I can't have it in either of these cells, because then I would have a 2, 3 here, and since I don't have a 4 here, this would need to be 6, 7, and 2, which would break, so that's why I can't have a 4 in either of those. If I have a 4 here, then I have a 5 here, and then I have a 6 here, and I have a 2, 3 here, and a 7 and a 3, and everything is completely fine. Okay. And no, I can't have a 7 in this column, because one of these two is going to be 7, and I can't have a 6 in this column, so they're both in this block here. And I don't see anywhere I can go with that knowledge. Well, actually, this has just been a 5 for a while, because I have to have a 5 in here and a 5 here, so I can't have, or a 9, I meant. So I can't have a 9 up here, and I can't have a 9 there. So this one's just been a 9 for, I guess, a solid bit. I can't have 1, 4, 7, or 8. No, I can't have 1, 4, or 7 in this column. So this could either be an 8, if I have a 5, 4, 5 down here, and then these are 2, 3s, or if I have an 8 here, then this could be a 2 or a 3, but not a 5. So this is just 2, 3, or 8. And let's see. I'm trying to think if there's any possible way to determine which it is, because if I could determine that this was a 2 or a 3, I'd get that determined. Well, can this be a 2? Then this would be a 1, 4, and this would also be a 2. So that's going to be a 3 or an 8. 2 is not possible. And I don't think I'm going to get any further with that one right now. Actually, hang on. These two can't be 2, 3s. Like, I can't have a 8 here and a 5 down here, right? Because then these are both 2, 3, so these are both 2, 3, which means these are both 5s. And that breaks. So, this one can't be 8, it has to be 3. I'm going to get this here with 2, 3, 5. Actually, no, I take that back. My reasoning was flawed. This one could be the 5, because there isn't a consecutive requirement. So, unfortunately, that reasoning is not the answer, but it seems like something close to the answer, and this logic might be a breakthrough in the future, so I'm going to just keep in mind on that. Because if I can lock this one out of being a 5, for instance, somehow, then I can make that the argument. But that is not currently the case. Okay. I'm just going to quickly scan the board to see if there's any, most likely high numbers, but just any numbers hanging around that are just only possible in one square and I've completely overlooked. I doubt it. Yeah, I really doubt. I don't think there are any other numbers sitting around because I've pencil marked the critical ones up here. 6 can be anywhere in this block of 4. So I guess I can mark that that one's not possible to be a high number. Although it's not going to change my deductions. But 6 can be anywhere in this block. And anywhere up here and anywhere over here. And for this one, it can be anywhere in this clump and it can be in one of these two. Okay. 4 is possible in any of this. I think, yeah. Yeah, I don't see a... Actually, 4 has to be in one of this outer edge. Right? Yeah. Because if 4 is not in here, then this is a 2, and this is going to have a 4 in it. So 4 is somewhere along this edge, which doesn't tell me all that much. But, yeah. That's just where 4 can possibly be. If I have a 2, 3 here, then this is a 7 and this is an 8. Okay. If I have a 5 up here, does that force anything? Then this one has to be... Well, then there's no 5 in here, so this has to be 3 and this has to be 2. And this is a 5, so that's a 4 and that's a 1. This is a 2, this is a 3, that's a 7, that's a 3. This is going to be a 1-4 pair then, which means a 6 and a 4. And that doesn't lock out 4, which is what I had been hoping might happen. If I have a 3 here, though, then I have to have an 8 here. So if I have a 5 here, I'm going to get the same kind of thing, but up here I now have a 2, 3. I still am going to have a... I have a 2, 3, and a 5 up here now, but I still have a 3 here, which means I get a 7 here and a 3 here, and I get a 1, 4 here, which would mean that I'm going to get... no, that doesn't work, because the reason I was able to get this is because the 4 up here caused it. Otherwise, I don't see a way I can get that forced. Because if I just have a 1, 4 here, then that's going to imply a 2 here, which would mean a 6, 7. A 6, 7, right? Yeah, because 2 causes 6, 7, but it's going to be a 7 here and a 6 here. So actually, hang on a second. That might be something. 5 here means 8 down here, because it can't be 4, 5, so it has to be 8, 7, which means a 3 here. And that's going to mean I have a 2, 3 here and a 5 here. This 3 is going to cause a 7 and a 3 up here. And that's going to cause this to now be a 1, this also to be a 1, 4, which is going to make this a 6, or no, this a 2, then I need a 6, 7 here. But the 6 has to be here and the 7 has to be here, which means this is a 4. And now I have a 4 in here and a 4 in here, seeing all of these squares, and this one can't be a 4. Which means I don't have a 5 here. And that's just all I get out of that. Oh boy. All that hard work just to determine this square is not in fact a 5. Oh boy, man. This is... Yeah, progress is grinding to a halt at a point far enough in the puzzle to where, in general, I would say the puzzle would be more or less solved. Well, I have a 4 and a 5 here, or a 5 and a 6 here, or a 6 and a 7 here. And those are the only possibilities because 5 and 7 are both locked into certain cells. Actually, 6 has always had to just be in this column, right? Yeah, because it's either going to be down here or in here. Which means one of these 3 is a 6, and I guess I can remove that one from there. That one can't be a 6. Does this help, though? Because that's the more important question to be asking. Is, does it help out in determining things? Well, I know there's no... No, I don't, because 6 could also be down here, so I can't do a... whatever it's called. So I don't remember the technical sudoku term, but I can't use that technique to determine that neither of these are 6s, because this could be a 6, which would make one of those two a 6. Yeah, okay. Then 4 and a 6 here and a 4 and a 5 there, so that's not going to break. If this is a 5, 4, 1, then this is a 2. And since this is a 4 and a 6, then this is going to be a 6, and this is a 7, and this is a 2, and here's a 1, 4. Which means 4, 4, and 4, so that's not going to break 4s. Which is, I guess, what I'm trying to see if I can find somewhere, because the 4 is very heavily restricted, or it's more restricted than you would expect it to be in this box here. And I was hoping I could find some way to exploit that, to get an idea as to where I should look next, but I'm just not finding any way to do it. So it might be time to consider this group of cells. If this is 6, then I have a 1, 3 pair here. If this isn't 6, then I have either 1, 4, 5, or I have 2, 3, 5, which means I'm just going to do that. Yeah, I don't think pencil marking in all of these is going to help. It's just going to put in too much information at the same time, which is never helpful. 1, 4, 5, 7, 9 are the possibilities here. This one here is a 1, 4, 5, or 7, because, yeah, I don't have any real way to limit that any more than the fact it can't be a 9. Yeah, okay. Where do I want to look next? Well, 8s actually are limited to these two up here, so I can actually determine that I can't have an 8 in either of these. So this must be an 8, which I don't think I can get anything off of that, because once again, that was just another number I overlooked after saying I didn't think I'd overlooked any other numbers. So, yeah. I guess I could check a third time for numbers to see if I have... Yeah, this one's in the exact same spot as that one. So, yeah. Guess I just overlooked that spot twice, just in opposite directions. Okay. I would say there was some kind of symmetry here, but there's clearly not, because this isn't a 9, it's a 7. So, you know, the slightly close to symmetry but lack of symmetry of this puzzle makes it very tricky. Or it makes it a bit tougher, because you can't use a standard pattern finding trick you can for a lot of symmetrical puzzles. But at least for my brain, it wants to try and go to those like similar pattern kind of strategies, and that's not super helpful. This one is a maximum of 5. These two are a maximum of 5. Amongst this collection, either 2 or one of them, I think, have to be. No, there's always 2 of these are. No, it can be 1 if 6 and 7 here. Then I can have one of these that is at most 5. Let's see. One of these is always at most 4. This one is at most 4. And of these 3, 2 of them have to be at most 4. This one here could be at most 7, which is a real shame. Because if it was at most a 5, then I could use this to determine that... how many of the ones up here are at most 5? Yeah, no, if I could determine that this wasn't a 7, I could actually probably logic out... Well, of course I could, because I could just make that a 7, and then that would just solve the solid portion of the puzzle. If only. Okay. Is there a way for me to determine if this is a 4-5 or not? That's something to consider. If this is a 4-5, then this is a 1 and this is a 7, and that's going to make this a 2-3 and this a 2-3 and this an 8, and then this is a 2-3. This has to be a 5. This is a 5, and this is the other 2-3 to match this one. Since this is now an 8, This would be an 8. I need to have a 1 here and a 2 here, and I have a 2-3 pair here, so I have a 7 here and a 3 here. So I have a 7 here when this is an 8. Can I have a 3 here? Then this would have to be... Yeah, if I have a 3 here, then this is 8, this is 1, 4. Then, since this is an 8, there's going to be a 5 up here, which means there's going to be a 4 here and a 1 here. And that means there's going to be a 2 here and a 1 here. I thought I was onto something, because I thought I had already concluded that if this was an 8, it forced a 3 here, but I must have been wrong about that. Let's see, if this is a 3, this is a 7. If this is an 8, then this is a 4, 5, which means 5 is marked out. So this is a 2, 3, this is a 2, 3, this is a 5, then this is going to be a 1, this is a 2. Oh, then this one has to be the 2. That was where the issue came in, because this one could be a 3. If this is a 1, 4, and this is a 2, and this is a 6 and a 7, right? Right, that works, right? Because if that breaks, then I might actually have something. So I'm just going to go back through this line one more time. If this is a 3 here, and then this is a 1, 4, which makes this a 2, a 6, and a 7. Which makes this a 4, and this a 6. Which shouldn't lock me out of anything, unfortunately, I don't think. Because if I could force the top, if the top one was forced to be a 4 when this happened, then I think this would break. Maybe. Oh, well, no, this has to be a 2, 3, 5 here. Right? Yeah, this has to be a 2, 3, and a 5 when this is a 3, because 4, 5 here. So this is 2, 3, and 5, which means no 4 up here. There's a 4 here, and there's a 4 here, which does break. Okay. So here we go. Now I have a 7 and a 3 marked. And just like every other time I thought I've had a breakthrough, I don't know if this is going to get me literally any more information than just that. Oh boy. That's a great question. Does this tell me literally anything else other than that? I honestly don't think it does tell me literally anything else. I think it just tells me those 2 digits. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not seeing anything else right here, because I could have a 3 in one of these 2. Or one of these 2. And I already knew 3 wasn't in that column. And that means one of these 2 here has been a 3. Or, hang on. One of these 2 is just a 3. Might as well mark that. But do I get anything else out of that? No. No, I just don't. Can I do this without having a 3 in a row? Yeah, but I have 1, 4, 5 here. But then this is a 3. Which, I already know there can't be a 3 in that row, so actually that deduction doesn't tell me anything. Okay. Okay. Where do I go now? If this is an 8, because if this is a 3, this is a 1, 4. But if this is an 8, then I have a 4, 5 here, which means I have a 2, 3 here, which means I have a 1 here and a 2 here, and that means I have a 2 just in one of these 3, which, yeah, I always have a 2 in one of these 3, I guess. Just logically, because if I have a 1, 4 here, it means there's no 4 in this column, so this is a 2. And otherwise, I just obviously have a 2 in one of these 2. Which means either one of these is a 2 or one of these is a 2. And if this is a 5... Well, let's see. The only case for this one of these 2 to be a 2 is when this is a 5. And when this is a 5, it means that I have up here, or down here I have a 7, 8, which makes this a 3, which makes this a 2, which, of course, is exactly what's needed to not break this. If this was a... I actually might have already determined that earlier to be able to mark this one as not having a 2 in it, thinking about it. No, that was from something like this, probably, but that's unfortunate. That would have potentially broken it if this was not a 2, because if I had had a 2 forced here, here, and here, that would break, so I could determine either of those were a 2. But that just wasn't how the world worked in this case. 1 is somewhere in this box down here, because it can't be up here, since 1 and 2 are locked into those. So neither 1 nor 2 could be up here, which means 1 is in one of these. 2 is somewhere amidst this bottom row here, but that's not going to lock me into anything. 3 is amidst this clump, and it's up here somewhere in there. If I have a... okay. Every time I feel like I get something, I just get like a digit and then go head first right into another wall. Okay. Well, this one can't have 2 or 3 in it. I'm just going to mark it as 1, 4, 5, 7, although that's a lot of options. Up here I either have a 4, 5 pair, a 5, 6 pair, or a 6, 7 pair. And either way, most of the time I have a 4 up here. If I have, well, let's see, I either have 4, 5, 6 up here for these 3, in which case this is a 1 and this is a 7, and this is a 2, 3. Or I have 2, 6, 7 up here, in which case these 3 are all 1, 4, and 5, and this is a 3. Which, of course, covers every option there, so I can't reduce any of these by anything. Okay. What do I want to look at next, then? If I'm going to be honest, I'm not even sure where I should go next. 2 of these are green. This might be green, or it might be gray, and same thing can be said about these. Okay. If I... Oh, man. Yeah, I'm really just spinning my wheels here. I'm just really not sure where I go next or what I do next. Because there isn't, if all the white digits, or if all the white dots were given, then this puzzle wouldn't be solvable anyways, but, yeah. Okay. Same sum, 10, 15, 16, and all of my logic, yeah, all the logic I have should hold. Yeah, I'm not seeing any reason why any of the things I've concluded would be wrong at all. So that's not what is causing me to be stuck right now. Okay, and I'm not missing any rules, because not all X's and V's were given, so I'm not missing anything from there. Boxes, yeah, and all the, I've really considered everything. I'm just trying to, I guess I'm just gonna have to keep scanning around the board until I find the next thing, because one of these times the thing I deduce will hopefully be the final break-in I need to solve the puzzle. Or at least that's the hope. Yeah, I don't think there's any point really in coloring things, because I don't think I'm going to be able to figure it out based off of high number, low number logic. Just because I have too much uncertainty, so I'm going to, once again, remove all of the coloring, just because it's a visual distractor, and it might be distracting me, I guess. Who knows? Am I making excuses for why I haven't found it? Absolutely. Alright. Guess I'll just press on. If this is an 8, this is a 7, and this is a 1. And does that impact anything outside of this area other than a 4 here, and a 3 and a 2 and a 5? Yeah. Okay, and if this is an 8, then I have a 4, 5 here, which means I have a 2, 3 here, and a 2, 3 here, and a 2, 3 here, and a 5 here, and a 5 here, and a 1 here. One of these two is a 5, and one of these two is a 5, and in this clump, any of these is a 5, so that's not where I want to go next. Trying to think if there's any numbers that would be the same regardless of what I do with this situation over here. Because I don't think I'm going to be able to figure it out by considering what numbers are similar if I go through the 3 different valid possibilities over here. I don't think, at least. If I have 1, 4, 5 here, then this is a 9, and this is an 8, and this is a 7, and this is also a 1, and this is a 1. So that one doesn't break in terms of 1s. If I have a 1, 3, 6 here, then I have a 9 here and a 1 here, and that's going to force a 1 here again, which is going to make this an 8 and a 7. And if I have 2, 3, 5 here, then I have a 4 here, which means I can never have a 4 here, I suppose. Because, yeah, I guess I just can't have a 4 here, right? Because if I have a 4 here, then this one has to be either 2, 3, 5, which is impossible because of 3, 5 here, or it is 1, 3, 6, which breaks because I need a 1 up here. So this one can't be a 5 now. It's a 4 or 7, which makes this a 1, 4, 7 triple, which isn't all that helpful other than the fact that I guess it is just that. I guess I'll continue with this because this might be it. If I have a 1, 4, 7, or if I have a 1, 4, 5 here, then I have a 9 here and a 1 here, and that means I have a 1 up here and a 7 here. The only way for me to have a 7 here is if I have a 4 here and a 5 here. And the only time that that is permissible is when I have a 1 in this box, so I need to have a 1 somewhere up here, which means this is 2, 3, 5, which makes this a 4, this a 5, and this a 3. And, yeah, this is a 5 and this is a 3. Then I need to have a 3 down here, which I do because it's 2, 3, 5. Yeah, okay. But what if I have a... Because if I have a 5 here, then I have an 8 here, a 7 here, a 1 here, and here I'd have to have just 1, 3, 6, because I obviously couldn't have 1, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, so I'm not able to force out any numbers from these two as being possible. If I have a 4 here, then I have a 7 here. Yeah, this one's a 4. Then this is a 5, and this is a 3. And this one here is a 1, 4, 5. This is 8, 7, and 1. And this is a 7 as well. And then here I have a... Oh! I don't think I can have 1, 4, 5 here, can I? Because then I need to have... Because these ones up here are 1, 4, 5, 7, 9. So if I have a 1, 4, 5 here, that one does break. So this can't be 1, 4, 5. This is either 1, 3, 6... or 2, 3, 5. Which gives me a 3 here. I've done it. I have found another digit that I am almost certain is not going to be super helpful on its own. Yes. Well, I guess I just can't have a 4 here either. There's no 4 in this bottom row. Because it's either 1, 3, 6 or 2, 3, 5. And if this one is 1, 3, 6, then this is 9, and this is 1, and this is 1, and this is 8 and 7, so 5 actually is still allowed here. So I can't lock out that one yet, which is what I'd hoped. 1, 3, 6, or 2, 3, 5. If I have 2, 3, 5 here, then this is a 4 and this is a 5. And one of these two then is a 5. And this is a 5, and this is a 4, and this is a 1, and this is a 4, and that's a 7 and an 8, and that's a 1. And all of that is stuff I was already, I think, aware of. Okay. Okay then. What is the next step? That is the important thing for me to ask myself as I slowly go insane staring at this puzzle. Okay. If this is 3, or no, 2, 3 is, if this is a 5, 4, then these could be 2, 3 in any order between the two, and I don't see anything locking them out of that. Because then I'd have whichever one this is will be here and here, and whichever one this is will be here and here, and this will just be a 5, and that'll be a 5. And otherwise, if this one is 5, 4, then whatever this is will be here, and in one of these cells, right, because if this is 5, then this has to be 2, 2, and 2, and 2. And one of these 3 is a 2, I don't know which. Actually, I do. It would be this one. 2 and 2 and 2 here and here. And then I'd have a 3, 5 here, which would force a 3 up here, which shouldn't break anything because then I also have a 3 here. And in one of these 2, this one is a 3. Actually, I don't really know why I determined which one of these 2 was a 2 and which one of these was. Wasn't a reason, but yeah, that's going nowhere as well. And I haven't really restricted my possibilities at all. So I don't think I'm going to be able to gain anything new out of that right now. What do I want to look at next? Oh, wait, one of these 3 also has to be a 2. This has just been a 2, 3, 5 staring me in the face for a long time. Or, well, the 2 has been locked in here for a very, very, very long time. Oh, boy. And great. And of course, another cell I just straight up did not realize was restricted to an area. And this is the one that's going to break it open, isn't it? Oh boy. Yeah, I definitely spent solid there, just 20 minutes trying to find that. Because I think if I had found the 2 in here, yeah, the only way I could have a 2 in here was the 3, 5, so... Oh my gosh. Well, hopefully I won't hit another stopping point, because then I'll go crazy, man. I get stuck on this again, but it's looking like at this point I'm not going to get stuck again. And the rest of this might just be smooth sailing. I don't want to get overconfident here after the ludicrous amounts of time I spent on it, but yeah, no, this, I guess, was the solve, so great. I'll see y'all next time, and I guess hope y'all enjoyed watching me slowly go slightly insane while trying to solve that one. So yeah, see ya.